I think the idea of this is, since we're not learning all the seifim in all the simonim, I think the way they were determined is that they're teaching us the what do you call it? They're teaching us the how do you call it? They're teaching us the basics of every simon,
Right. I mean, I think yeah, the basics and
and then if you want to do more on your own, it's you
right.
do.
It's in other words, listen. If you're gonna do a program that's gonna do all dal halakim yuna,
You'll
because
never finish.
by the way, it's also, for example, the 770 program. It's not. It doesn't. It's not everything.
No,
Right.
no.
Fine. So they choose certain. Here, I think there's two ways they choose it. The one is there's two things that they include. One of them is if it's is if it's more shayach lizmanenu.
Right, right, right.
Because the truth is, and even a lot of things we're learning now, that they're really today the cases they're talking about is really barely shaykh. But I think the ones they include that's not so shaykh is because there's certain klolim in there that even though the cases themselves aren't shaykh, but the klal is shaykh.
Listen to something somebody I referred to Rabbi Kazimov, that he just built himself a house and he found out that the gvulim were wrong.
Yeah, like the when they did the survey or whatever.
The survey, it was wrong.
Yeah,
And what happened was that um, that he's lost 2 feet of his property on one side.
right. That's a major deal because we're not talking about there should have been a door here, an extra room. You're talking about the land mamish,
The land mamish.
the
Listen to
land
this.
itself.
So this person came to me and he asked me what to do, and I said to him, "There's first of all, there's no thing as chazaka that because till now you went moicha because you don't say
Didn't know
chazaka
about it.
b'mokum shtar loy amrinen."
Right.
Not only because I didn't know about it, it's because there's no such thing as that's number one. And the second thing is that okay, that's one thing, bad enough, as they say. But the guy threatened to go to call the police if you start touching my flowers and my bushes, and there's even a tree there. So I told him to go to call Rabbi Kazimov. I gave him his number, and he called. Rabbi Kazimov said exactly what I said. He said, "It says shtar chazok u'mokim shtar lo yamrinen," and the deed of the house is a shtar. That much I
Right.
knew. I figured that one out. That's not like Medan can go on for them. But he did. This is the bottom line
Right.
that
But I think
if they
I
call the
think also
cops,
like Avi's saying is also that in other words in order to be Michael, I had to know about it.
right?
Otherwise, I mean, had I known about it, I would be makbid. I didn't know about it, so I couldn't be makbid.
Yeah, but
There's also that element, I think.
that aspect also, that's for sure number one. But whatever, that's harder to prove. If you say, even if I knew, but I have a star, and the star, the
Yeah.
anyway. So but Rabbi Kazimov told them, listen, midin Torah, the land is yours for taking. You just build it. So, but
Oh,
watch
meaning
out.
wait, what do you mean? Oh, wait, you mean he gained the extra? The survey
Yeah.
was wrong. Then that meaning
The,
ownership
the,
wise, he gained two
now,
extra feet.
the way they are now, the way they know now, that's the right way, and that's the star. That's
Yeah,
considered a star, and
yeah.
Hatzedek Imoy finished. But he
Now
told him,
the neighbors are Yid or no?
yeah,
Oh,
from
okay.
a Yidden. We're talking about from a
What,
Yidden.
what what's the scenario? I'm piecing things together, just trying to figure out what happened.
They built a house, and they're putting now a gate, and it seems that the gate of the Yid next door is 2 feet into their property. And the driveway, which all along has been very narrow, has flowers there from the guy next door, and they can never park properly because every time they open the door, it destroys their plants, and they have tinus noch.
Right.
It seems that that belongs to them, that whole area. So
By,
in the
by the way,
backyard,
when it comes in this case, when it comes to secular law, for sure in a secular court he'll win because the survey's the survey.
yes, that was. But Rabbi Kazimov said, even if you're right, you got to watch out because if they call the cops, that could be considered like wrong. That they can sue for that. Because remember, we are
No,
running
no.
a liberal, a very
I mean,
liberal.
these kind of things. It's a matter of first of all, you got to take care of it in the bezdin,
Yeah.
and then if the
And
guy
then
refuses to listen, you have to ask the bezdin if you can enforce it in a court.
in a court, but either way, it's going to go to court. So the guy says, "I don't want to go to court. It's going to cost me an arm and a leg to go to court." But he can't do it without permission because they threaten the guys next door. They threaten to call the cops. You touch my bushes, you touch my gate, you
Okay, but
touch
it's
it.
not yours. It's legally not yours. The survey shows.
Yeah, I know, but we're a
So call the
very
cops
liberal.
here. Call the
Yeah,
cops. So I'll have the survey ready for them.
you'll never know in today's judicial system is so liberal if an illegal what do you call it person
No,
comes from.
but it's fine. But between that's only if the other guy wasn't Jewish. You have to worry about it. But yeah, with these things, I mean, listen. First of all, it's already a situation because generally you hope you get along with your neighbors.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, so but it's funny that's where you talk to see that Choshen Mishpat. I mean, it depends. Especially, see, this is the parts that we're learning. For example, I spent a month learning Hilchos Eidus, Hilchos Tain Venitan. A lot of that is really not nowadays. You wouldn't
yeah,
use so
it's a
much of it.
problem.
But these inyanim, like for example, that we're learning here, these are real.
Yeah. So you know
Renters and all these
what
things.
it seems that Rabbi Kazimov has seen stuff. This is the reality of
This is
yeah,
yeah.
but you have to be careful because it really, really like it's a very liberal court system that could really you think
Yeah,
you're right and before you know it you're wrong, even though
yeah.
you're right.
Before you know it, you're right, but you lost everything.
You lost everything. Yeah,
But you're
but
right.
that we need siyata dishmaya.
Yeah, listen,
Okay, 18.
listen. It's coming. It's coming. The Bald is gonna be the whole world is gonna follow unsere Choshen Mishpat. So
You're there, yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we have 18. Mifgosh 18. Choshen Mishpat Simanim Kuf Ein Aleph Ad Kuf Ein Hey Dinim Nivcharim. So find Chalukas Neches Meshutaf. Okay, so you have a jointly owned property, and you have to split it. So now, Kifias Chalukas Shel Neches Meshutaf. Can you force the split? Right? How do you do? How do you go about the Mishnah Maseches Bava Basra Yud Aleph Amud Aleph Ein Chilkim Es HaChatzer Ad Sheyehei Arba Amis Lozeh VaArba Amis Lozeh. Right. So in order to split a Chatzer, each person, why? Because Dalid al Dalid is when you consider it a property that has some sort of mamashos to it, that has some sort of validity to it. So there's going to have to be for you for Amos and for me for Amos if we're going to split it. And the same thing, a field in order to be able to plant on it that is usable in any way, you have to be able to plant on it tisha kabin. Right, so each one of us will have to have. So meaning when it comes to a chatzir, there would have to be 4x8 total land. When it's a field, it would have to be enough for planting 18 kabin. So 9 can go to me, 9 can go to you.
Beis Abad is basically an oil press, no?
The base abad, but the sode.
The oil press, and then velois besa
Yeah, so
shalkin.
not a talis, not a merchot, not a base abad, not the base of shalkin until
Besa shalkin is kind of like a pool, no, like irrigation thing.
base shalkin is. Let me see.
It's a kind of like a pool thing.
Let's
Look at it. As far as I remember, learning Beis Shalkin all the years, I could be wrong. Not an irrigated field, yeah. You see?
Yeah.
I was right. Yeah, irrigated field. I was right, yeah.
Fine.
Shkoyach, Rabbi, for translating it.
Ad yehei bahen kedai lozeh ukedai lozeh. Meaning it's you can only split it if after it's split it's gonna
Beneficial.
be usable.
Beneficial. Yeah.
Right, and by the way, this doesn't make a difference if it's a 70-30 split. But then the guy with the 30% has to have still at least enough that it's usable. So what's the klal? Is anything that you will split it and it retains its name, you can split it. If not, you don't split it, right? Because, for example, something a car. If we're going to split the car, it's not going to be a car anymore. Then it's going to be car parts. The same thing, for example, whatever it is in an apartment or whatever, it has to have an entryway. If there's no entryway, so I'm taking the part with the entryway so it has to be usable, and that it still retains. It's still called the same thing. Imasai when bisman she'ein shneim reitzim. Avol bisman shneim reitzim afil pachs mikan yechleikum. Right? What's the rule by Mamonis? The rule by Mamonis is if we're maskim the tatnai kayam, right? So this follows the general rule. Choshen Mishpat is this is all when we're taking each other to din. And we're not agreeing, and I'm saying I want to split it, right? You're saying I don't want to split it, whatever it is. So fine, but if we both agree, it doesn't make a difference if it's 3 inches by 3 inches, and I'll take 1.5 by 3, and you'll take 1.5 by 3. Good, it's a deal. Harambam Shulchan Aruch Pirtu Dugmoi Shel Mikrim Shebahem Shnei Anoshim Nais Mishutim Beneches. So the Rambam Shulchan Aruch they specified different cases of how the people came to be partners in this, joint owners of this land. Somebody who's buying half of the field from his friend. Or 2 guys bought from one guy. It's an inheritance. It was given as a gift. Here the guy says, here's my field. I'm giving this as a gift to you, Reuven, and you, Shimon, to both of you. This field is a gift to you, to you too. Or they made out they were making it from what's it called? They made a chazak on it from they took possession of it from the hefker. She also shnei pulas chazaka. I'm kind of bailus besade shel hefker v'chein v'kach also shulten basade. And they both made a tfisa on this land. That's a good Kenyan. I guess they did it at the same time or whatever. And they became now they're joint owners of this field.
Made the chazaka or what?
In this case, essentially it means they made a Kenyan. A chazaka is one way to make a Kenyan.
The Kenyan, the
now,
way as far as I remember,
on Hefker, I think chazaka is the only because what are you gonna do? Star from who? Kesef to who? So I think when it comes to Masada from Hefker, then the chazaka is means a chazaka kipshute.
Yeah, that I mean
because how else you make a kinyan on Hefker, right? There's Kesef, there's nobody to pay. Star, there's nobody to make a star with.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Hemshech Rambam Shulchan Aruch. Obike Shech Mashut Lach like Velita Chelke Levad. I don't want to own this jointly with you. I want to own my. We split it. You take your piece. I take my piece. Im yesh ba'isi karka din chaluka. Gaidel maspik shero'ila chalukas. If there's a in that piece of land, there is within it enough to make the split. He can force the rest of the owners. Now it could be the other owners stay they stay shutfim in the say it's one guy owns 40%, one guy owns 30%, and I own 30%. But there's enough that we can split off 30% and it would be enough, and the 70% would be enough. That the thing would still function the way it's meant to function. Right? But a good example of a place that would be a problem is like, let's say, a mill, right? I mean, back in the regular mill, it only has one millstone, right? So it doesn't make a difference upstairs, downstairs, sideways, whatever. If it's only one millstone, one set of millstones, then how do you split it? Because in order for it to function as a mill, there has to be a millstone. There's only one mill. If it's a place that happens that has two millstones, which wasn't so common, I don't think. Fine, then your piece will be including this millstone, and my piece will be including this millstone. We'll build a wall in the middle. Fine. So, anyways, he can if it will remain usable, then for both parties, then one shutuf can force the others to split off his share from it. The same holds for metaltalin, right? So let's say let's say napkins. Okay, fine. Here, I'll take half the pack of napkins, and you take half the pack of napkins. It's no problem, right? But a lamp, what are you gonna? How are you gonna split a lamp? If you're gonna split it in half anyway, you split it. It's not gonna be usable as a lamp anymore. So then you can't force a split. When do we say this? Right? We're talking about when the person doesn't already use his chelik in a certain way, right? Where we have joint ownership of this land, right? Let's say, for example, we jointly own a duplex, a side by side duplex, right? And I live in this side and you live in that side. Fine. So chalukah, it's what's it called? We're already makir we already know we're you know what my chelik is and what your chelik is. Eloyad kulam mishtamshin b'chol makom. So we're talking about not like this. We're talking about a place where they all use the whole thing. But if one person recognizes this part, each person, right? It was defined at the time of purchase. This is my quarter. That's your quarter. That's your quarter. That's your quarter. Even if it will not, if it doesn't have the right size that's considered a normal splitting. Right? Because what does it mean l'chalik? You can't take it with you, so that he can put up a fence and fence off his part, right? That he can make that he can make a survey line so the guy won't put his bushes there. So say so كيف כל אחד מהם מתחבר להעוד ומחלק לחברי בכדי שלא יזיקו זה בראייה. So they shouldn't harm each other by looking at each other. הרמב"ם בשולחן ערוך הוסיפו, הרמב"ם בשולחן ערוך עד. Just an interesting note here, note 5. Midivri Shulchan Aruch mashma shebemakim she'ein hezek re'iyah ein keifen lachlik. Right? Because why did he have to add that? Keifa kol echad mehem chaveru lahavdil min chelkel chel chaveri. So because he
I mean,
added,
Hezekiah, we're talking about Hezekiah we're talking about something which is because of Ein Hara, because of discretion,
yeah, or because whatever, like because privacy
your privacy, you're
yeah,
intruding in somebody else's privacy. I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but I don't think it's so easy to, I don't think it's so
Listen, well,
easy
what if I'm developing a cutting edge irrigation system and I don't want people to see it, so they shouldn't be able to steal my
Yeah, I'm
idea.
saying I think most cases are cases of Hezekiah, no? I mean, people just don't want people
And
poking.
the truth is, it's funny because it's funny that he brings this regarding a field. A field you wouldn't usually have an Indian of Hezekiah. A dira you would have usually has more so Hezekiah. In a field, Hezekiah is a little bit weird, but maybe
Yeah,
Einhar you could say I'll have Einhar on the fruits. I'm what I'm growing. It's a little
that's
it's
we-
actually a little
that's
bit
what
it's a little bit strange
it's
that he
brought
brings it
down in the
b'kesher to a
Gemara
sukkah.
that by a chotzer there's Hezekiah because he's doing his private, it's his private.
Yeah, yeah, and
On the
back then was maybe a little bit different. Would be first of all, Bechlal, they didn't live in such houses like we live, that you have such a room or whatever. So they probably did. There's a lot of things that laundry and things. There's a lot of things they did outside,
course.
even cooking and things like this or whatever. A lot of it was done
Salting,
outside.
salting things we don't do nowadays. Salting the chickens.
Right? Yeah, all kinds of washing the laundry on the board and hanging
I
on the
remember I remember
clothesline.
in Brunois in France, there was a chotzer there, that there was a bacher who was in charge of salting the chickens. They took the chickens, mamish of the Schlachto is nicht gesalzen, and there was somebody over there who salted it. I remember. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that person's still alive.
Yeah, yeah, we used
Well,
to do. Well, listen, when I was in Ukraine,
you also did it,
when I
yeah?
was in Ukraine, I was there for after before my chasna for about a year and a half, and then after my chasna for about half a year.
Was they had a
Because
yeshiva
my
there or
my our
what?
chasna was in Ukraine. It was in Dnipropetrovsk. My wife is from Ukraine.
Wow.
So we didn't. So it depends where you were. I mean, when we were in before when I was a bacher, was in Zhytomyr, he made almost like there was a greenhouse on the back of the house that he turned into a shlachtes, into like a mini shlachtes. You could do easy say 100 chickens a day over there. And we before Rosh Hashanah we checked me and Moshe Taler, who's now he's now shliach in Berditchev. So we were both shachtim. And we would and I think Shlomo Wilhelm, if I recall right, I think he might have also been a sheikh. I mean, I think he's also a sheikh. I think it
Well,
was many years ago, so I don't remember
who
exactly.
cleaned out the chickens for you? They had a machine for that or what?
So we no, what's it called? No, so there we usually just took the skins.
The whole thing, so the whole skin came out, and that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Um, uh, uh, um, uh, yeah. Or if we really wanted, you'd have to pluck.
Wow.
It's like a paring knife. What's it called? Um, but yeah, we and then later when I was when I so it wasn't so easy to get chickens. We would go, me and my wife, we go Friday morning early because if you wanted to get the good young chickens,
Yeah.
and I had like a bag, like a bag, but it was like a breathable bag, and we'd get two young chickens about 5 o'clock in the morning. We'd leave it about 4:15. We'd get there at 5. We'd get two chickens, walk home we'd get home before 6, and then every Friday morning I would check two chickens, and we would what's it called? They clean them and salt them and uh, you know
Again, take the skin out and
yeah, yeah, usually, or if we really wanted we pluck them, but I think in the beginning we would pluck them, and then after a few times of that, where we spent half our Friday plucking two chickens, we decided, you know what, we're just gonna pull the skins off and finished. But yeah,
anyway. So
Yeah.
you did a lot of private things in your backyard. That's it.
So we used to slice. Yes, every week we used to clean chickens, and it was in the chutzner where we do it in the chutzner of the build. We had a build. There was a building, and I still remember the goyim. They would make a tzelem on themselves. They thought they thought the Jews are doing some kind of satanic ritual where shechting the chicken, then I'm pouring the blood, then I'm mumbling something and putting dirt on top of the blood. You know, they thought I was doing some kind of satanic ritual. But
Yeah.
in the case, yeah, back then, things were used differently than what we think now. So nowadays, it sounds a little bit weird that in the field, nowadays, a field you plant it. It's the only thing you do in a field, or.
Wow.
So yeah, but in either case, so the Sma brings that it says that according to David Shulchan Aruch, it's mashma that if there's no hezikriya, then you can't force the split. Or
You can't force
yeah,
the gather, the fence.
yeah. But the Sma and the Nesivis hold.
Yeah.
No, you can't even force the split. The whole reason for the fence is because of the Hezekiah. But
You
because
can
the Hezekiah
you
is
can
why,
you
according to this, is the only reason you can force them to split in a case that there's no din chaluka if you know what your portion is. But the Sman and the Sivis, they say that even if there's no Hezekiah, they can force each other to make a recognizable boundary. Why? So that each person shouldn't use it. And the Smeh, according to the Smeh, the Smeh explains it that no, actually the Mechaber, despite the Mashmos, the Mechaber really holds this way also, and he was merely bringing an example. He was bringing one example of the thing, but Lav Dafke has a kriya. It can be any sort of what's called to stop them from using it.
you're saying what the second paragraph? Oh, that's in the second
I'm
paragraph.
saying this is in Ha'ara 5.
בדברי השולחן ערוך משהו שבמקום שאין הזק ראייה, אין כופים לחלוק. ואומר, סמא והנסיבוס כוסבו, כשאין הזק ראייה, כופים זה לעשות גבול ניכר, כדי שלא ישתמשו אחד בחלק השני. והסמא ביה שכך גם דס השולחן ערוך. So we don't have to make it like it's a מחלוקת against the Shulchan Aruch, the Smeh and the Nesivos.
Yeah.
Azoi in Shulchan Aruch, it would seem that the Shulchan Aruch, most of the Shulchan Aruch is that it's only this Hezekiah, because he mentions
Right,
Hezekiah.
because why does he bring Dafka Hezekiah? But right, according to this
But he
man,
says,
no,
it doesn't have to be that way. You can
according
reconcile.
to this man, he's right. He said the Shulchan Aruch really holds that way also. He's just bringing one example.
Yeah. But it's to have clear
Not just that.
boundaries.
It makes sense because, in other words, he's saying even for just Hezekiah. So it goes without saying if there's mamisha hezek, like he's using your property.
That's
right?
mamish hezek, yeah.
Right.
That's
so he's using the lightest example.
Do you know
that you can figure out
Do you know that Hasogas Gvul, which this is what we're looking at, if they trespass the boundaries, that's mamish Hasogas is Isu Doraisa. Hezekiah is not a Isu Doraisa.
Right.
So it's hard for me to imagine that the main criteria over here about building a fence is because of Hezekiah and not Hasogas Gvul.
Right. It's because it's because of Hezek. Hezek means that he's gonna plant something on my land that I don't want planted there.
You know that if I take Hasogas Gvul is moving your fence into your my fence into your property. That's Hasogas Gvul.
Yeah, if I move the boundary line.
So if you don't put a clear boundary, that's what might end up happening. And that's it to the Raisa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The chashash of Hasogas Gvul, that which really is a stronger taina, that Shulchan Aruch.
No, but here he's talking about not just moving the boundary line, because the boundary line could just be markers. Here he's talking a step further. That I want to build something that stops you from coming in.
Yeah. And in here, it's even more. Here it's saying, even if you don't step in, I don't want you looking at me.
Right, right. So according to the Smeh, you could read it that so why does the Mechaber bring Hezekiyah? Because if I could do it, even because I don't want you looking at me, Allah has kama v'kama, I can do it because I don't want you coming in and messing with my stuff and messing with my land and whatever. You know, if I can do it even to stop you from looking at me, so how much more so I can stop you from mamish physically interacting with my land.
Or putting your stuff in my land. That's a Sogas Gvul. I think what you're saying is really a Sogas Gvul. I'm not talking about Sogas Gvul.
It could be or not. Let's say I don't put my stuff, but I don't know what I'm walking around. You know, I'm afraid you're going to trample my.
I don't want you to walk in my property.
I don't want you walking on my property.
That's it. Kamanu. That's
right.
Because
it's your
issues.
If you look at the Mechaber that way, even I don't even want you looking at me. So Allah has come. I don't want you walking into my property. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I agree that this situation could easily, snowball into a Sagas Gvul. That is no question.
It's all chashoshes, really.
But I'm saying here it's Karav Adavar. The Galgil will take a Sagas Gvul. There's no.
You're not holding too far off it.
But here, even if there isn't Mamash Sagas Gvul, still, I don't even want you looking at me and not coming in and not. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, Vimizak.
In America, it says, "Get off my turf."
Yeah, a turf.
So
Rambam Shulchan Aruch Yisufah, paragraph 2. They added Eizehu din chaluka. So fine. So he said Choshen din chaluka. What's a din chaluka? Kol sheilu, like it said in the Mishnah before. Kol sheilu yichalik lefi mispar hashutfim yagia lepochi shebahem chelik shesham. That whoever receives the smallest piece, right? Let's say I only have a 15%, and one shutuf has 20, and one shutuf has 35, whatever it is. But the one who has the smallest percentage, when they split it, it'll still have its name called upon it. Right? It's a muscle for the Yidden that even the cotton shebahem. Shame Havaya Nikra Olav. You see, this is for the Yidden that even the cotton shebahem, the whole Shame Havaya is Kara Olav.
שעדיין נקרא בשם הקודם שהיו לדובר לפני שנחלק.
Right, so the same thing that it was called before.
Like what, for example?
It was considered a field. So like we said before, the example in the Mishnah was if you can't plant 9 cabin in it, it's not enough to be called a field. The place is a yard, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a field. A field,
right.
The gather of a field means that it's enough that I could plant 9 cabin on it. So here that means that whoever the smallest portion goes to has to still have enough land to plant 9 cabin, because otherwise it's not a field anymore. So if it's kvar ein shmeilov, right?
Yeah.
Then it doesn't have a din chalukah. Loy nitan lichvais al chalukah. Meaning, again, like we said before, if everybody agrees, no problem. But one cannot at this point to now force the other to split it. Keitzad kol chatzir she'ein ba arba amis al arba amis mirubas chutz me arba amis shel apsachim. Why? Because the joint entryway has to itself be for. So you have to exclude all the entryway parts. All right, anything essentially that needs to remain joint property, because otherwise we can't reach our door. or we can't reach our area, or whatever it is. So besides for that, besides for common area, because the common area is going to have to still remain. It's a byway essentially. Then it has to remain 4 by 4 amas to each one. Besides for this, right? If not, eino kriya chatzir. It's not considered a chatzir. The chol sadish ein by kedei zrias tishel kadbin. Right? Any a field that doesn't have in it enough to plant 9 cabins in note 8. Kavi midas nefach shel shishis se'ah. It's a 60th of a se'ah. Karev liter v'chetzi b'midis manenu. About a liter and a half. V'kan meduber al shetach b'karka shenitin lizreya by tishel kabin. How big is this? V'hu shetach shel 850 ravual meter. Ravual erech. So it's 850 meters squared. That's what's considered a field. That's huge.
Can I ask you a question? The part
That's
they
like,
said before.
that's like 2 football fields by 2 football fields.
Can I ask you a question? We said before that you needed dal damas, right?
Yeah.
Merbois. Chutz me'apsochim. That's talking about a chotzer.
Yeah.
Those are the dimensions of a chotzer.
Right.
And that of a field, it doesn't go by dal amas.
Right. It goes as well. So that's why he explains it. That's why he
it goes by the amount of produce that it can yield, I guess.
Right. So that's why he explains it in note 8 that it's approximately enough to plant a liter and a half of seeds.
Which is how big is
and
that?
he says that it's about 850 meters by 850 meters square.
800.
Which sounds gigantic, because it's the length of like 2 football fields by the length of 2 football fields.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more even.
Let me convert that into feet, because
Yeah, 850 meters, right? A meter is a little bit smaller than a yard. A football field is 100 is how much? Is 100 yards. No, so it's even bigger than that.
Meter.
It's like 8 football fields by 8 football fields.
2 yards. That's that's huge. It's 929.
So
it's like close to 930 yards.
It's
every meter.
How much now? A meter is smaller than a yard. No, it's like
yes, 850 meters
feet.
is 929 yards.
Yeah, so here meter.
For an approximate result, multiply the length value by 1.094.
850. Oh, look at that. No, a meter is bigger. How big is a meter?
1 meter is approximately 1.094.
I'm mistaken. Yeah, so it's like 9.25 football fields by 9.25 football fields.
I guess so.
It's a very big shetach. But remember, what's pshat a field? This isn't like somebody who has a big yard and is planting there. If you've ever visited a farm, right,
where
they have apple trees, and we have one here. People, we go apple picking and things like this.
It's huge. It has to be.
Otherwise, they have just the apple section is giant, and then all the peaches, and they have blueberry berries and strap. It's a field, Or if you ever drove through Kansas, and there's wheat and corn, and it's miles and miles and miles of this stuff. A field means like an agricultural it's not talking about it's a private greenhouse here. It's talking about a real field.
Yeah, that's big.
It's called a field.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is big.
Now, I still don't understand. I'm interested to know which seeds they're talking about. Still, that a liter and a half of seeds would would be enough to plant such a giant thing. But in either case, so fine. So if it doesn't have Tisha Kabin, I'll Tisha Kabin. If it doesn't have Tisha Kabin enough to plant Tisha Kabin, it's not called a field. Lefikoch in Chilkin es a chotzer. Ache barba amas l'cholech v'echad neshutfin v'leis sasada ache bo zerias Tisha Kabin l'cholech v'echad. Fine. Sikum din chaluka lekamon sikum ha'ila min ha'amur le'il u'misifim le'sofim b'simin kuf ayin aleph. Reuven v'Shimon shutfin b'karkev metaltlin. Right. So Reuven and Shimon, they're joint owners of either land or movable items. Reuven mu'unyin lefarik es ashutfus v'lasis chaluka. Right. He wants to split it. V'lo Shimon and mu'unyin v'kach. Shimon doesn't want. Im do b'dav shekol echad me'am yochel ishtamish b'chelkei la'achar achaluka b'chol eisem tashmishim shoyim ishtamish b'chol mikaydem. Ubeneisiv l'kach achaluka loy sigrem l'shimon hefset gadol shoyla al esrim esrim achuz me'erech shel chalke. Hadinim Reuven v'yochel lichvei Shimon l'chaluka. So fine, as long as he retains the use and he won't take a loss of more than 20%. Now, where he gets this from, I don't know. I feel like there should be a ha'ara that says where you getting this information, the 20%, because that's new information. But in either case, so then he can make him split it. The truth is also, we're not really talking about that. He's giving an example of a field, and back in those days, that's what a field was, and that's what and that's it was nine cab or whatever. It's the truth is it's going to be hakol inyan, you know. It's going to be all. It's all going to depend here. What are you using it for? Is it usable? So he's giving an example of it, but really it's going to be each thing to its own. Aval imidober bedavar shechalukasi l'shnayim tigreim leibud Hashem hakoydem shalei. Right, if it's going to cause that it's can no longer be called the same thing, or it loses a function, right? Like we said by a mill. Right, he's going to lose 20%. His place, right? It's not going to. It's not going to, once you split it, it's not going to be each portion is worth 50% of the total value, because I guess when let's say a field, and when it's a bigger field, it has a bigger value. Where a smaller field, it's not 50% of the total value. It ends up losing some of that value because it's not maybe as a premium now.
So he can stop him from doing it.
So then, yeah, and so if he's so if it's over 20% is loss.
Over 20% of till 20% loss, he should be
meaning like 10% of the overall property loss, right? Because he's getting, let's say, 50% of the property.
Yeah.
So let's say the property is worth $1,000.
Yeah.
But when we split it, right, we're 50-50 owners. We split it, instead of being worth 500, being that a bigger property is worth more to somebody who's in the agricultural business. When we split it, my section is not worth 500, and your section is not worth 500. Rather, our section is only worth 450 now. That's still okay.
You mean every section was worth how much before? So
the total was 1,000 if it was the whole parcel.
500 each.
500 each. But it's not worth 500 anymore. Why? Because
of the size.
Because it's not this big of a property. So they're not going to pay the same per square meter or whatever. So now let's say it's worth 450 each side. That's fine. Why did it go over 20%? But if it's going to be worth less than $400 each side, then you can't force them.
that would be 20%, right?
That'd be 20% of the 500.
$100 with is 20%.
Yeah, of the 500. Yeah.
Of the 500, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's 50 and 50.
Yeah.
50 is 10%, and 50 is 10%.
Obviously, we're using this example because it uses round numbers and it's easier. But the same would be applied if it's 30, 70 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Same idea.
You just have to calculate how much is the
Right,
10%.
right. You have to calculate that, and what's the 20%
What
of
the
that?
10% itself is okay till 10% down bichlal
Till
or
20.
20%
Until
down
20,
bichlal or shabbat?
based on his wording, including 20.
Including she'oile al,
Right?
it's
Right.
more
Because
than
he said if
20.
he's going to have Yaiser me then it's the problem.
That's what Godel she'oile al min
So if it's worth 400, fine. If it's worth 399, no good.
Oh, but 20% is okay still.
Yeah, that's based on his words here. Again, he doesn't. There's no order given here for. So I'd have to look inside to see where the 20% comes from. You would expect he would give a note here where that comes from, being that it's new information, but is none.
Yeah.
This time taking him but if we're talking about an item or a field or a piece of property or whatever the thing may be, whether it's karka or metaltalin, that splitting it's going to lose its name. It's not going to be called the same thing, right? We own a car. If we chop the car in half, it's no longer called a car. It's called car parts now.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a car.
It's tigrum le'ibu, destruction.
Right. Or it loses its function, which in the case of the car, it does that too.
It's not destruction, but it takes away one of the
right.
uses.
Listen, if whatever it is, a car or a wagon, fine. In theory, you can take the pieces apart and it didn't just get destroyed, mamish, but it doesn't function anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So, or if splitting it will tigrem l'shim and hefset shel yesim yesem achos me'erech shel chelkei. Then hadinim shimin shemis nagid lachaluka. The Reuven cannot force him to split now. But he can force upon him other things, other eitzes. Because remember, it's you're not gonna force the husband and the wife who are getting divorced to stay living in the same house because right. Let's say the husband gets 50% and the wife gets 50%, and she says let's split it, and he says no, you can't force me to split it because if we split the house, I'm gonna lose 20% of the value. So what are you gonna do? The ex and the ex are gonna live in the same house together. It's not gonna work. Right, we're not the same thing. People who obviously, if he wants to split it, there's something that's not going here. It's gatenish. It's not something's not working out with them.
But
so they can't split it. But there's other
if it's 50-50, they're both going to lose 20%, and they're both going to lose 20%.
Reuven is saying I'm willing to lose it.
Yeah.
But Siman is saying that's fine, but I'm not.
But you cannot force him to
because you're losing. Even if you're also losing, that's your problem. I don't want to lose the 20%. So the first eitzah shaloi lilas and mikdash shaloi nitin lichbeis chaluka he hatza'a lises good they are good. Right? Means either I buy you out or you buy me out. Right? Reuven says, fine, you don't want to split it. Listen, I don't want to continue our shutfus. It's not working out. It's not good for either of us. Right? Either good, sell, or agud, as chalkicha, me many as chalki. Either I'll buy you out or you buy me out. Lahanis l'bakosha sapiruk shel Reuven. So Shimon he can't say no. I'm not. No, listen. You didn't want to split it. You didn't want to split it, and I take half and you take half. So now he can force Shimon. Either you buy me out or I buy you out. The Shimon yochel and Shimon, right? You know, there's a klal by duels. Not that that's commonplace these days. There's a klal by a duel that the person who challenges the person who challenged the other one, the guy who was challenged, he picks what's going to be the weapons they're going to duel with. So it's the same sort of thing. So Reuven is forcing it. So Shimon gets to choose if he prefers Limke Reuven or Liknes Reuven. He gets to choose, and Reuven can say, "Listen, I'm good either way, but either you buy me out or I buy you out." And Shimon has to choose which one. Din zeh hu takonis chachamim. Why mishum v'osisa hayosher v'atayv. Shemitzad echad ein lichbeis chaluka fizis labadover shalei mishtal melchus fizis. You can't force a physical split of an item that it doesn't make sense to split it physically. Split the car. It doesn't make sense to split the car. Ach mitzad hasheni hashut v'shmunin lefarik hashut v'z yochel achriach hasheni laas es godi agud. It's fair. Listen, you can't force us to stay in a shutfus. That's going to be miserable for everybody. We can't split the thing physically. There's no reasonable physical splitting of this thing. So fine. So the reasonable thing is he gives him the option, and Shimon gets the choice if he wants to buy out or sell out. So that's the next ideal thing. If it's not possible to split it, is one buys the other out.
And what's the formula? Who has din kadima to make that decision whether to buy or sell?
Shimon.
Why? Because he's the one who wants to do it.
Because he's the one because Reuven is the one forcing the dissolving of the partnership. So Shimon gets to choose which one he wants, right?
So not the one who is insisting on the dissolving the partnership.
Correct, the other one.
Right.
Don't disturb Zaidi. He's learning right now. But you could learn with him. That you could do. You could learn with Zaidi. That you're always allowed to do.
Who's that? My
Yeah.
They're talking to you.
Yeah, the tiny of me the other day. Why was I learning? And I ignored him.
Well, listen. He should know he can't disrupt the learning, but he could always come join the learning.
You want to come join? You need a safer.
That's it. You're part of you want to be part of the chavrusa.
It's a shooter. So the shooter the shooter that is being forced, he can make the decision.
Correct. And this is it's all in fairness, being that you're the one forcing. So you give me the choice of which I prefer, which, right? Because the Reuven is saying, listen, fine, you don't want to split it. We can't split it. Either it's an item that cannot be split, or it's an item that you do not want to split, and you're allowed to refuse based on that. But in either case, I'm saying, okay, fine. So I'm going to force you either way out of this partnership. But since I'm doing that, I'm at the same time, in fairness, I'll give you the choice which one you prefer.
Okay, weiter.
Fine, but mikra shalei nitan lases gudei agud. In a case where you cannot do gudei agud. Oh, shnei michlitu shalei lases, or they both don't like that. Ahatzor shachacham hilimkir is kol haneches. Right? I'll give you an example. Let's give the easiest example. Neither Reuven nor Shimon has the money to buy the other out. So we can't do Gudei Agud. Gudei Agud, either Reuven has to have enough money to buy him out, or Shimon has to have enough money to buy him out. Somebody's got to have the money to buy the other guy out. Otherwise, you can't do good yogurt.
Okay.
So then what do? You sell the whole property,
Makes sense.
right? Or you can see, you know what? Let's rent it to somebody, the whole thing, and we'll split the profits. So we're still going to be shutfin, but we're not shutfin working this land together, which wasn't working. We're just going to be joint owners of the land. We'll rent it to somebody else, and we split the money, or we sell it and split the money. Somebody opposes, one of them opposes this idea. Yasu chaluka shel zmanim v'shimush baneches. And so if this is also not good enough, so either they can do it like a timeshare, which look, obviously this is not, it's not like in a field, that's not going to work. But let's say a car, right? Well, we can't split the car, right? Furthermore, not only can't split the car, I don't have enough money to buy it from you, and you don't have enough money to buy it from me. It's for whatever reason, in this area, you have to have to rent a car out. You have to have a special a car rental license, and to sell it to Chveis, it's a bad market. We're not going to get it. We're going to lose our pants. So you know what? You have the car 1 week, and I have the car the next week. You have the car 1 week, the next week. What if I need the car on your week and you need the car on my week? Fine. So let's stay shut from like before. Right? You should have communicated. Fine. So that's what you do. If it can be split physically, you split it physically. If you don't want to split it physically, good they are good. You buy me out, I buy you out.
If one of the sides doesn't want to do it because they doesn't have the money,
they can't. Neither of them has the money, or whatever it is. Then you can sell or rent the whatever the item is, whether it's land, whether it's a car. If that still doesn't work, then so fine, stay shutfin. Apparently that's the best mahalach is just
haklal ha'oile. ומצד אחר חכמים חיזרו את האופן שלא ייסעו לה כשותף מנחלוסי בעל כורחוי. They're trying to avoid not to send the guy away against his will. לכן קובעו שעדיף הראשון או good or good.
Yeah.
That would be willingly done, not unwillingly. They're trying to avoid unwillingness to leave the property.
Right. Everybody, nobody feels they were thrown out of their property.
Right. ולאחר מכן, it should be ברצון המטוב. You know, ולאחר מכן, סחידוס המחירה בהסכמה של שניהם. Do you understand? Either sell it willingly on both parties, or if you can't sell it, or you don't want to sell it,
right? And
rent it out and get the revochim, like we said before.
There's a key difference, is that in the first case, if we were going to split it physically, if it meets the criteria, you could force it. Why? Yeah. Because when you're forcing that split, nobody's kicked off of his land. Everybody ends up with a chelik.
Yeah.
That's why there you could force it. But good or good, you can't force. Why? Because you're forcing me off my land legamri. And in the case of renting it, or what's it called, or selling it or whatever, same thing. You can't forcibly kick me off my land. So here it's going to be only bahaskama, whereas if there's the possibility to physically split it in such a way that it does not lose function or its name or 20%, that you could force. Why? Because you're not causing him to lose his nachla, to be misulik from his nachla. In that case, he's retaining his nachla. Yeah.
Well, in the case where you rent it out, you're really retaining it and you're making some money also. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, but physically you're losing possession of it.
Yeah. Well, it's not your ideal situation.
Right. You're not.
But ideal in comparison to what? What are your options?
Meaning it's not your. Well, the ideal would be I have my land and you have your land.
But they don't. There's not enough space for that.
Right. So no, so that's why only in that case you can force it. But if there's enough space, fine, there wasn't enough space, so we're already in a not ideal situation. But once we've gone from the original thing of let's split it and I get mine, you get yours. Once we
Yeah.
move off of that, everything else has to be baskama. Why? Because he's not retaining possession, and therefore you want it to be in a nice way, and it's what's and so it has to be baskama at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Geen lachen we kunnen zmanim. Aval mitzad sheni eile. Right? At the same time, eile midivrei chacham shekasher echad me'ashut mereitz lefarik es hashutfus ein ze yasher v'toiv lahachrichai lehishoyer b'shutfus v'lisbel. Right? There's a reason he wants out. Why does he want? Why is he trying to force them? Something here ain't working. They're miserable, or at least he's miserable.
I knew somebody who had the shooting that had a bakery, and there wasn't enough for both of them. You know, it was a Yerusha, it seems like it,
right?
And there wasn't enough to make a profit. So one guy tells the other guy, buy or sell. Now, that's a good reason why. Was the one side got upset about it because he couldn't run it on his own, and so he had to buy him up, and he didn't have money. It was a ganze Meise, it wasn't poshut.
Yeah.
But it had to. This happened years ago. I was a kid at the time, and the fact is that whether you like it or not, there was a very strong reason why to break the shutfas. Nobody could make panosa. There was two families, and there wasn't enough to go around for both sides. So it's not like
sorry, I spoke wrong. Good, it looks like you can force.
But only if it is a siba toiva.
Well, but so that's his point here. He's saying the fact that he wants to leave the shutfus obviously is a siba teva. Otherwise, why would he want to leave the shutfus at all?
It could be a siba toiva. No, I just want to be independent. That's not a siba toiva. That's terrible.
Right, but why I don't want to be, but in other words, it means this isn't working for me.
But it's time to say I want to go. Okay, so long as there's enough room for both sides, right? If it's a field, let's say,
right? Fine, so that's why. So in that case, you could force him.
You could force him, yeah. That's too bad. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying there's delicate cases, like for example, a business that. I'm not saying that he's wrong, that two be cannot be mefarnes a family at the same time, but the one guy can run it on his own, and the other guy cannot run it on his own. So so the guy who's running it, who can run it, will buy it off the guy who doesn't run it. But
right, or the guy who has the money. Reuven will say, "Listen, I have money. I can buy it off you. Or if you want, you buy it off me."
But the other guy, the guy who couldn't run it also didn't have the money, so he ended up selling his portion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's
right. So he sells somebody else.
Can he be forced in taking an amount which is not fair? That you're running into problems that way when one side is more vulnerable. But that's a whole different story.
No, so that's why you give him an out. So you sell your portion to me then.
Yeah, but I'm saying the amount which is sold could be, you hope that it's going to be fair for everybody. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's going to be a fair amount. I mean, look, if the guy only had 1% in the business, so what do you want me to tell you? It's not my fault you only have 1%. You already.
Right.
I'm not.
No, even if you have 50, even if you have 50%, but if you
fine,
cannot.
So listen. Obviously, the chaluk is gonna have to be in a fair way.
It has to be.
It's gonna have to be evaluated for its proper value.
Exactly. That's my point. That it can't just say at all costs sell. It has to be. It has to be
right. It's meaning I'm gonna buy you out. It doesn't mean he's gonna come. Okay, here's $10. It means we're gonna evaluate what's the proper market value, and I'm gonna pay you I'm going to pay you properly your portion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. כל זה כאשר שותפים בדבר אחד או בשני דברים זהים.
What does that mean?
That means this is all when they are either shutfim in one item or two similar items. Like two identical items. What if they are shutfin in two different items that have a different use? A car and a lawnmower, you know.
What do you mean? What do you mean? They were shooting on both two separate things.
Yeah, but they're not. But it's not like two. Look. If let's say there's a property and it has 2 mills on it. Fine, I take 1 mill, you take another mill. You know, and whatever. Say 1 mill is bigger or whatever. Fine, we can figure out a way.
Yeah, I remember
You'll
this.
get more of the land, say, or whatever.
But
what if it's two completely different items? Yes. So you can't force him to do an item to item split. You take one, I take the other. Why? Because look, if it's 2 mills, and I'll say, wait, but I need a mill. Fine, here, you get a mill, I get a mill. But if it's a car and a lawnmower, and the guy says, but wait a second, I still need to drive and I still need to mow my lawn. So if you're going to say, let's, just for argument's sake, let's even say it's one of those riding mowers and it's a very expensive commercial lawnmower that's worth the same exact like the car. It's a $30,000 car and a $30,000 lawnmower. Fine. So just to pull out the complications of monetary differences. Right? And he's going to come and say, listen, you want the car or the lawnmower? They're both worth $30,000 and we have a shutfus in them, right? So either take the car or take the lawnmower and I'll take the other one. And the guy will taina, listen, I'm sorry, but I need a car and a lawnmower. This was working good for me, our shutfus. What, right? Whatever. Say sometimes you would use the car and sometimes I would use the car, so we could both go to the market. And sometimes you would use the lawnmower and sometimes I would use the lawnmower. We could both go to the market. We could both cut our fields. Now, I can't even take one and take the other. I need both, but the use of both. And so he can't force him like this.
Also not.
Right? I don't need this.
ומצד האחר, ומצד שני, אינו רוצה למכור את
He
שניהם.
doesn't want to sell them both.
He doesn't want to buy both of them or two of them. Or one of them, or even one of them. Or none of them. Ich will nicht verkaufen und ich will nicht kaufen, keine von sie nicht. You know?
Ich will noch dir allein.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Will nicht delen mit Saljen.
Ich will nicht ein Ganeden. Ich will nicht ein Ganeden. Ich will nicht ein...
Yeah. So,
How do you say the pasuk which is brought down over there? Hey, for this. Ich will nicht ein Ganeden.
Yeah, ich will nicht dein Ganeden.
No, but the pasuk it's brought down in Chassidus. It's brought down that the person who just wants the Yebishter lane is brought down from a pasuk. The pasuk in Tehillim that says that I don't want anything, just you alone. I'll get it soon. Okay, weiter.
So, what do? הפיסן לפירוק השותפוס במקרה כזה הוא לייסיס good or good על כל חפץ בנפרד. So the car, meaning even though, right, these guys inherited the car and the lawnmower from their father. But now what you do is you split them as two separate items. And you do good or good on each one. Right? Because the guy, I don't want the car and the lawnmower. Or alternatively, I don't have enough money. I only have $30,000. I don't have $60,000 to buy both of them off you. And I don't want to sell them both because one of them I want and one I don't want, and etc. So you do good or good on each one. The person who wants to split, right? Find the car. Good or good. Buy or sell. Right? Find the car. You want, you buy or sell. Up to you. Okay, good. Now the lawnmower. Buy or sell. Up to you. So that's how you will handle that. Shimush ashutfim bechotzer mishutef zebechet madreges. Now using the partners using the chotzer, the joint chotzer or the joint stairwell. Chaluchas chotzer shel binin mishutef. So kosev b'shulchan aruch.
שימוש השוטל בחצר, בשוטל בחדר מדרגס, what's בחדר מדרגס?
A stairwell.
It's called חדר מדרגס, but מדרגס.
Yeah, it's the room. No, but it's the madregas is actual stairs. The cheder madregas is the stairwell, is the room that the stairs are in.
So the last thing that we did, I'm sorry, sorry to interrupt you, is we only did Sif Gimel. Only did Sif Gimel, right? But we did Sif Dalad also.
That was Sif. No, that was Sif Gimel. Through Sif Gimel, yeah. That was through Sif
Kuf
Gimel.
Ayin Aleph. But
that was Kuf Ayin Aleph. I think it was Aleph through Gimel.
Betur Sif Aleph Shemechad. I don't know why I have a Hago over here on. We just did only Gimel, not Dalet, right?
No, not Dalet. We did okay. Aleph Beis Gimel.
Okay, now we're gonna go. I'm just trying to synchronize with the Shulchan Aruch at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I would like to look inside also.
Right, because then you can take the same thing and look inside it and see it inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very
okay, so we're in Kufa in base now.
Yeah. Kufa in base is Sif Aleph where we're doing.
Sif Aleph, okay.
Chotzer amischalekes. Right, like we said before in the Gemara. Pesach arba amis. Each entry has to have 4 amis, right? For why 4 amis? Because it has enough space to load and unload a donkey. And the rest they split evenly, or at least evenly according to what their percentage is in the chatzir. Shekol Pesach tzarich lifonov arba amis l'techa chatzir. Kedei lifrek es amasa min hachamer shahari einei yochel likonis im hachamer l'techa bayis. Right, you can't bring if someone's getting if they're unloading a donkey, you can't bring it in the house. So it has to be 4 by 4 in the chatzir by the entryway in which to unload.
The entranceway has to be arba amis in order to, and the rest is divided. The entrance of each entrance has to be dalad amis, and then you have to take a dechalukah.
And remember, like we said before, that ein chatzir ala arba al arba. So
you need at least 8 on each side.
So if there's 2 guys, you're
gonna 8 on each side.
You're going to need 4 by 4 for the entry, and plus 4 by 4 for each of them at least. So, right?
8 by 4 by 4 on. Excuse me. 4 by
12.
4 by 4 on each entry, not on one entry only.
Well, so I'm saying, so let's assume there's let's assume the bare minimums here. Let's assume there's 1 entry.
Well, how could there be 1 entry? To
the chatzir. It's the entry to the chatzir, not to the houses.
You wrote over here, and quite rightly so, and that's a according to the subdivision, one gives to each entrance 4 cubits.
Each entrance, but there could be one entrance.
New
There could be
Jersey,
two
and
entrances.
shot in free ball.
There could be one entrance, or there could be two entrances.
Okay,
If
one
there's
entrance to
two entrances, two entrances, you have to give each one. If there's only one entrance, then there's only one entrance.
Okay, so you want to say that it could be a Hechatimtza, one entrance for two Chatzeros, right? That's what you're saying.
Well, it's going to be it's now one Chatzer, and you want to split it into two Chatzeros.
Yeah,
so
but
you're gonna need 4x4 for the entry, plus 4x4 for me and 4x4 for you. So
yeah,
you
because that
12.
entry
minimum.
is going to be that. But I'm going into measurements over here. I hope you understand.
Yeah.
You're telling me this one entry, which is right now for one chotzer, is going to, as soon as they make the chalukah, is going to be the one entry for two. For the split chotzer.
It's the same entry.
Okay, soll sein so. Ich habe das nicht verstanden. I understood.
Meaning you come in from here, and I can turn right into your chutzner or left into your chutzner.
I understand, and I'm not saying not.
Not necessarily is it going to work out that simply every time.
I didn't think it was going to work
I'm saying
out from day one.
minimum. You need 4 by 12.
Let me tell you this: the chances are that
there's two entries. If there's two entries, I'm right. Let's say it doesn't work the way. Let's say there's one entryway from this side into your side of the chutzner, and another entry into my side of the chutzner. Now you're going to need 4 by 16.
On a practical level, that's the way I understood it.
Yeah.
Because
but I'm saying it is possible that there's one entry and then you go this way or that way.
Can Shalom Bayis nicht haben also.
Fine, but let's say that's the way the land is set up. What do you want me to tell you? So we share the entry. Remember, we're not always unloading a donkey at the same time. See, when you go into this al-arba, the donkey can unload into my chutzner or into your chutzner.
Yeah.
Meaning it's the same chutzner. It's just I'm taking now. This is my side and this is your side. So if there's an entry, there's only one possible way you can get there from the street. Then so you need 4 by 4 for that. Now if there's multiple entries, you're gonna need for each entry, and if there's a third person, you're gonna need another 4 by 4 for the third person. Beishal Sichuv Shevet HaLevi Kosav Shebizmanenu Kvar Loi Neheges Takonis Chazal Shekol Bais Mekabel Arba Amis Lifnei HaPesach L'Shimushi HaProti. Oh, and you know what? I did this. This sounds like you're saying actually. This sounds like you're saying that it's not the Pesach of the Chutz, it's the Pesach of the Bais. Meaning it's almost like each house needs a loading area.
Because the reason
it sounds like how you were saying.
That's what, I'm sorry. I just that's the way I understood it without reading it.
No, I think you're correct. I think it's the way you were saying it.
So anyway, so the reason is that we don't deal with horses nowadays.
Right nowadays we don't have this. We don't have donkeys.
I would like to tell Shmuel Vosner of Shalom, who's the author of the Shevet Levi, that today's, excuse me, you need a garage.
Even 4 by 4 is not enough anymore.
Not enough. I know he's coming from Bnei Brak, where such a thing is an insane.
Or what's it called? Listen, even in Borough Park, for example, in Borough Park, nobody has 4 by 4 by there. In other kinds of here we all have space in front of our. We have
Let me tell you this: in Borough Park, nobody moves into a house without a garage because the repercussions of not having where to park are heavy over there.
Yeah, no, here we don't I don't have a garage, not a driveway.
No. Where do you park?
This isn't Borough Park. But here, from usually right in front of my house.
Wow, no problem.
Usually right in front of my house. Besides for, like 6 times a month, 6 times a year, they have street cleaning. Street cleaning is the fourth Monday, and on the other side it's the fourth Tuesday of each month between from April till November. That's it. There's no alternate side every day. Park right in front of my house. Today it was a big giant hassle. There was a whole construction. They were on the neighbor. There was something gas line, something digging up, whatever, and there was no parking there. And Rahman Litzlan, I had to park 20 feet away, caddy corner on the corner over here.
What about snow plowing?
In Pittsburgh, snow plowing? You wish.
You mean there's no snow or there's no plowing?
There's no plowing. No, there is. It was what's it called? The whole bottom of my car is torn up because from going in and out on these ice snowbanks but they don't plow the parking spots. Even though in the end they did. There was a guy because it was so bad. They had the city had buckets coming and putting snow into dump trucks. So they were doing it over here. They're doing it over here. I gave the guy $20. I said, listen, here's $20. Do you mind clearing this area in front of my house? So he broke it all up and they cleared it up and put it in dump truck.
I stopped probably, huh?
And then it didn't help because then the whole street was parking in front of my house.
Wow.
Anyway, but Bichlal, like here, I park in front. Okay, that's on the street. I'm not pulling. I don't need to unload the car from in the house. I bring the stuff. It's not like a donkey. Anyway, nowadays we don't. And the calls manchlikov mefurash. Acheres haaskam mehi shekol shetach hachatzer or cheder madreges shel binyan mishutaf yishamesh lekulam. So as long as he didn't have a different agreement, which obviously we know dinim ominous, whatever the agreement is stands.
Yeah, but he's saying, what he's saying is, bestam darf man nicht geben, unless otherwise specified that you do give.
Right? No, listen. If we agree,
that's what he's saying. Essentially,
we can agree on whatever. Listen, if we agree, let's say there's only one. Let's say there's only one staircase, right? There isn't even two staircases. Let's say there's only one staircase, but we agree that you'll get the staircase and I'll climb into my window with a ladder. Well, then that's what we agreed.
Yeah, but the point is not hakol kefi minhag medina. That we know. It's just saying that when there is no minhag medina, you don't get.
If it's right, minastam, it's the stairwells and everything are public use. You can't tell me, because your apartment's on that side. Why are you using this stairwell? Because I feel like it because it's a public stairwell.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mishum kach im echad me'ashchenim bevinyan derish lekabel l'shimushei aprati ay chelka yachsi bechotzer ay bevinyan hamadregis. Right? He wants a certain part of the chotzer, a certain part of the stairwell. Just like he wants to put a gate, right? Let's say in the lobby, he wants to put up gates so that the mailman can drop his mail there and doesn't have to worry about mail thieves, whatever it is. Or where he can put his things or something. Ein shaymin lei. We don't listen to him. Because by doing this he nullifies the possibility of use in the entire area. That's a joint area. The only time you can do this is if the other neighbors agree. Even if it's a guy who lives by himself on the top floor, right? He can't close off the part of the stairs because he can say, what do you guys need the stairwell? I'm the only one who lives on the fourth floor. So I'm going to close off. After the third floor, I'm going to put a gate on the stairwell. Right, like they had in the dorm in Tzfas back in my years in the Cliff Hotel. They had there was 3 floors were usable. The 4th floor was snakes and bats. I don't know what was up there. Bats for sure. and they had a gate that blocked you from going up the stairs. So the guy on the fourth floor wants to put something like this. He can't without permission, even though they don't usually use it. Let's say the guy on the top floor wants to build on the roof, which the roof of the building is a joint property. Then yesh mitzvah ala hashchenim limke leis chelkam. There's a mitzvah for the neighbors that they should sell him their portion. Mitzad vasisa yoshev atayv kederech b'nei Yisrael. Ach mitzad sheni ein yochel lechveisam al kach. He can't force them. Rak b'shichnu avirotzim teiv. Now the truth is, there's a benefit to the shchenim in this, because if he has the most expensive part of the building to maintain is sometimes the roof, and that means he now has to maintain the roof for everybody else. If he owns it, he's mechuyev in its upkeep. Fine. Okay. So I think we're gonna actually, let me see. Let's go a little bit further. We'll go till here, because here on the bottom of the next page starts a new sugya. A little bit. So now how about putting private items in the split area? Similarly, it is brought down in the later authorities of our time. So they can oppose one neighbor who wants to put his item like on a regular basis in the joint area. I don't know. He puts his bicycle there, so nobody else can use that spot, that same spot now. Or he puts boxes, whatever, somewhere. Right? For example, many buildings in Borough Park are like this. When you walk in, there's this strollers on the side and strollers on the side. Or, for example, in my daughter's building in Crown Heights, where it's a building that has like two entrances, right? And
you mean a right and left?
What has two? Yeah, there's right one and a left one. But the building itself is like a giant square, but in the middle of it is a big chutzner that you can come when you go into the right building or the left building. You can go into the chutzner from either one. And in the middle of this chutzner, they have a bunch of bike rack things, and all the shchenim, they put their bikes, their kids' little vehicles, whatever, tricycles, whatever. Fine, but that's different. Well, first of all, it's bechlal different because none of them are shutfin. They're all tenants.
Yeah.
But let's just say it was a building of shutfin. Fine, if they all agree, right? This is the area where we all put our bicycles and this and that and the other. Or alternatively, it's a normal thing where everybody leaves their strollers in the lobby. Then Rashai Kolach Meshchim lasses it. Everybody's allowed to do this. And even the homeowners association cannot stop him. Why Kivin Shal Das Kain because it's with this understanding that they bought their condo. And it's with this understanding that it became shutfim. But if one of the people has a child care, and now 10 kids from the child care, all the parents are leaving their strollers in the lobby, and it's disturbing the neighbors. The shchenim can stop it. right? It's we're talking about a major use that you can't say that this is. Oh, we all put the strollers here, yeah, but not 20 strollers from your childcare. That's not part of this. Hisnagdus shachin shebana b'chotz l'bnei shel chaveri. Mova b'achinis maninos brought in the later authorities of our time. Sheim echad me'ashchenim Ruvain bana la'atzmayim machson. Right, he built himself a storage shed. Okay, Yitzhak or similar b'chotzer mishutafis in a joint chotzer. She'ein bodin chalukah, but well, it doesn't have a. Yeah, you can't split it. Ushcheni Siman, Rav Shasak, his friend Siman, he saw and he was silent. Okay, hey, Siman writes a gam can live nice. In fact, he was not only silent, he said, "Hey, great idea. I'm going to do one of those too." So now he wants to also, right? He saw them at Costco. He wants to get the storage shed, just like Reuven did. But the Reuven opposes him. Even though Reuven built his own one and he didn't say nothing. B'taina, she'amnum kasher hu bana Siman machalei, avalahu ein yireitzim limchel Siman. That is different because when he built it, Siman was meichel, but I'm not being meichel. Hadinim Siman. Sorry, he can't stop him. V'hainu she'Reuven ein yachal limchel b'ishel yivna. Hatam lekach, u'mishum she'mechilosi shel Siman b'tchilo haisa al das she'Reuven gam yir michalei k'shir livnes. Right? Had he known that the Reuven would be makbid on him, he would have never he would have been makbid on Reuven for sure. So his mechila was basically a mechila with a tnai. It's basically comes out that it's a mechila tnai that you'll be meichel me if I want to build one. Ve'ilo hayashim yedeh she'Reuven le'yimchalei lo hayam meichalei haynu shanu imdim al das shel Siman shemochel al tnai ay shanu imdim al das Reuven. Right, so you say it either way. Either you could say that when Siman gave the mechila, he did it out tonight, or you could say that even Reuven himself, at the time that he was benefiting from the fact that Siman let him do it and didn't hold him back. So Reuven basically acquired for Siman this chus for him to do also in his portion like he wants. Even if Siman sells his apartment to Levi, Reuven ein yochalitin klapi Levi sharak l'Siman haisas chus livneis. Oh, Siman I would buy because he was meichel me, but you know, el adin hu k'mayim chazal ma mochar rishon l'sheni kol is chus shetav liyadei. When you're selling it with all the stuff that comes with it, right? Besides, there was one exception, if you remember. We had an exception, which if Reuven rented to Siman and then he sold it to Levi, and Levi says, "Oh, but in the original thing there was a thing that whenever what was it like? If I'll need it, I can get rid of you." That doesn't pass over, but that was because it was davish le'bala ilam. But with derech klal, everything that passes over, all obligations and all rights pass over with the property. Since Siman was allowed to build in the chutzner, when he sold it al das that has this chus with it. And even if it's not written in the contract, still he retains all rights that Siman had for this property. Levi will have for this property as well. And Mr. Hashem will continue.
Tomorrow's Friday. What time do you want to do it?
That's a good question. I have to think. What?
Okay, be more ideas
it looks like, but
through the chat.
I'm thinking somewhere around 11. That's what we did in the past, and it seemed to.
Okay.
It seemed to work pretty good. So.
Let's say that.
Sounds
good to me.
11. Okay, sei gewünscht.
Gamatom, Shkoyach Rabbi. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Sei gewünscht.
Gamatom. Bye.
Good night, everyone.